My 32 female family takes an annual trip, and for years now we alternate who pays. This year is my year. I dated a guy for 2 years, and let's just say he was incredibly toxic, and I'm in a much better mental state because he was out of my life. My brother, 22, is gay and has been in a relationship with 6 months but hasn't introduced his boyfriend to us. This is odd because we'd met his previous boyfriends. As the weeks and months went on, I started to ask constantly why I couldn't meet his boyfriend. I began to worry it was some insane age gap between them or something. Yesterday, my brother jokingly took my phone and ran off, so I jokingly took his phone, which he'd left unlocked. I got curious and looked at his pictures. I saw pictures of my ex, and I was confused why he would have pictures of my ex smiling. Then it hit me. I thought my ex was straight, so I needed confirmation. I unblocked him on Instagram to see tons of pictures of him and my brother clearly in a relationship. I confronted my brother about it and he said, "I'm sorry, this is why I didn't want to tell you. I didn't intentionally try to date him, he started hanging out with a friend and it went from there. I really care about him and you know he's hot, haha. Since I'm paying for the trip, I'm uninviting my brother. Along with him, my family thinks I'm wrong for this. Am I the idiot?" Not the idiot. I don't blame you for not wanting to vacation with your brother. It's not like he's seeing a man you had a fling with. You were in a 2-year relationship with this person. That's a major betrayal. Your family wants to sweep it under the rug for the sake of peace. But this is the type of behavior that gives you grounds to go full no contact with your brother if you wanted. Don't let other people manipulate you into thinking that you're wrong for having an emotional reaction to this. Not only did he break your trust and date an ex behind your back, he's bringing toxicity back into your life. That is not someone I'd want to spend a vacation with, let alone pay to do it. He knows he's in the wrong. How did he think this would go? That he'd just hide who he's dating forever? That you'd just get over it eventually? Also, the fact that he pointed out he was hot just adds a layer of superficiality. So he's willing to mess up his relationship with you because your ex is hot? Exactly. It was a toxic 2-year relationship that apparently caused quite a bit of mental distress for OP. She finally gets rid of him, and now he's back with her brother. My first read is that he's dating your brother to mess with you. What kind of age is compatible with 32 and 22? And he posts pictures on Instagram. Of course he wants her to find out. They started dating after the ex suddenly started hanging out with a friend of the brother. He was toxic then, and he's toxic now, using the brother to get to OP. I do more than cut brother from the trip. I cut him from my life. The betrayal is unreal. And if your family is mad at you, they don't have to come either. Go on your own and protect your peace. I disagree. OP, your brother is wrong for all of that, but you should continue the tradition and refrain from disinviting him. I'm more worried for your brother than anything else. There's a 10-year age difference between you and your brother, so was he actually really privy to all of the details about your relationship and subsequent breakup since he would have been a teenager when you started dating this guy? How old were you all when you started dating this guy and broke up? Your ex is using your brother to get to you. He could have dated any guy, but he dates your brother. You said the relationship was toxic. He might be doing this to provoke you or to hurt you or your family. I'm sorry your ex is an idiot, but your brother is a fool. On Valentine's Day, I got 2 large pizzas for my family to eat, and then I went to work. When I got home from my night shift, I went into the fridge and saw that there was still half a pizza left. I warmed up 3 slices for my supper and watched some TV with my cat while I ate. My son, 22, got up before I went to bed and looked in the fridge. He got upset that I'd eaten the food he'd planned to take for his lunch. There's lots of other food in the fridge. He said he told his mom that he was taking the pizza for lunch and that I was greedy for eating it. I asked him if he would be greedy for taking the pizza for lunch and he got cranky and left. My wife woke up when she heard us arguing. She said that he'd asked her and she'd said yes. I said, "Great, where's my dinner then?" She said she didn't make me anything since there were leftovers. I asked her what leftovers, and the light bulb went off in her head. She said she was sorry for not making me dinner. I told her it wasn't her fault, there were leftovers. My son came back into the room and started arguing again that he'd already claimed the leftovers for himself. This is where I might be the idiot. I asked him how much he'd paid for the food. $0. How much he paid in rent? $0. Utilities? $0. We're letting him live here so he can save money while he's in college, but I'm sick of this entitled little jerk-off. I told him if he'd had a problem with me eating his leftovers, maybe he should move out so he could have his food safely stored away from me. Then my wife says I'm taking it too far, but he backed down pretty quickly and said no, that he was sorry for saying anything. My wife says I'm being an idiot for scaring him by kicking him out over some leftover pizza. I'm not. I'm making sure he knows the best way to keep food that I paid for safe from me is to live elsewhere and buy your own food. Am I the idiot? Edit, he has a job. We're letting him stay here so he can save money. We are paying for his college. He doesn't help out with anything except chores around the house. His leftovers? Excuse me? Leftovers are only leftovers when everyone has had their share of the meal. Your retort to him about what bills he pays in the house is pretty spot on, and something any parent I know would say. Sucks being on the receiving end of that quip, but it is valid. Your wife sounds like an enabler and is just as selfish as your son if she allows him to claim half a pizza for his lunch after you went without. He does sound like an idiot. Sorry you have to deal with him. Exactly this. It's not leftovers if everyone hasn't eaten. It's still dinner. My daughter did something very similar with pizza in the fridge. She was saving it for her breakfast the next day. She threw a massive fit because her dad had eaten it for a midnight snack. She's 4 years old, not 22. This is way too funny. I'm going to say not the idiot. If he wanted to save the pizza for himself, he should have labelled it or packed it up already. He's living there for free, but he thinks it's okay to call you greedy for having some leftover food you paid for. One thing though, you are a grown person and you can make yourself something to eat for supper if there are no leftovers. I warmed up 3 slices for supper and watched TV with my cat while I ate. The man is just trying to enjoy a quiet dinner with his cat after a 12-hour shift and has to deal with his shiftless son's ridiculous entitlement. Geez, I hope the cat got some pizza too. My parents agree with my wife and think I'm in the wrong, but I want to know if that's really true. I, male 27, and my wife 25, have recently bought a 3-room apartment. We decided that one room would be kind of like an office room for both of us. Around a week ago, she had to go on a business trip for only a few days, so I decided to use that time to fix the room to my liking. Since I play video games, I have figures of some characters in games, etc. While renovating, I put a shelf full of those figures together with some other stuff. I left exactly half the space of the room for her to do whatever she would like. When my wife came back, she was furious that I didn't tell her about me renovating the room and that it destroyed the formal office kind of theme. She already had a picture of how she wanted the room to look, and I guess I destroyed it for her. I told her I could buy a green screen so the background wouldn't be of my desk when she had online meetings, but that didn't work out for her as it would take up too much space. I told her I wouldn't change how my desk looked, and if she didn't like it, she had to have other solutions for it. It became a big argument between us when I told my parents about it. They were on her side, saying I should throw away my stuff and start being more mature. That kind of hit me since that stuff cost way too much to be just thrown away. Am I the idiot for renovating the office without discussing it with my wife? But this is an office, not a gaming room. You waited till she was gone to turn it into your gamer cave in the house that both of you share. She lives there too, she works there too, her input matters, and you knew she wouldn't like it, so you tried to be sneaky about it. Dude, you don't live alone. Doing this without your wife's input makes you the idiot. Such a selfish way to go about this. To my liking means you know it was a one-sided move. She needs a professional-looking background if she's holding meetings in that space. That's not her being controlling, that is her setting a fair boundary for what she wants for the space. You going over her head makes you an idiot. It's an office, not a gaming room. Do you expect to loudly be playing your video games in there while she's in meetings? LOL at this guy thinking shared space to mean literally, you get half, I get half. Like a line drawn down the middle of a room in a sitcom. OP, you and the wife are not on the same page. How can you share a marriage, a house, let alone a single small office if you can't do that? I, 28 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 27, for 6 years now. On Monday, she crashed a car, rear-ended someone as she hit the gas instead of the brake. When she told me, I just said something like, "That's so dumb," and otherwise acted neutral since she was obviously okay. She's also previously scraped her car against a wall and turned it into someone at an intersection, so I didn't feel it was necessary for me to care since it's not such a rare, unexpected thing. She is not just a bad driver, she knows how to drive very well except when her head is in the clouds. There have been many other stupid things she's done, like breaking glassware in the kitchen and breaking her phone screen, putting gas in a diesel car she rented while hers was in the shop, etc. She's still been quiet since the accident and wished I'd been more supportive. I wasn't mad, I just told her she should accept it's part of who she is and to just live with it and accept that she's not the brightest person. She got really upset and told me that she wasn't dumb, got good grades in college and did CS, which is harder than the major I did. I pointed out that she doesn't even work as a programmer anymore as she quit her full-time job some time ago to become a makeup artist. She said she just didn't like the company environment and she still codes as a hobby, whatever that means. As far as I know, she hasn't sold any apps or anything. Am I the idiot here? I didn't mean it negatively. All I was trying to say was she shouldn't beat herself up about it and just accept that she's not very bright. She has other things going for her and everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. She's pretty and one of the nicest and most considerate people I've ever known. She doesn't have ADHD and has been tested recently. They just said she needs to manage her stress. She's dumb, says the guy with no emotional intelligence whatsoever. You are the idiot, OP. Even if you didn't use the word dumb, you clearly think she is. I don't blame her for being angry with you. I left the father of my child because he constantly put me down like that. Saying I'm dumb and tiny little insults like that add up over time, and they made me feel worthless. Keep this up and she'll leave you. You're lucky she's stayed with you as long as she has. I lost count of how many times you put her down in your story. You clearly don't respect her. Instead of demeaning her, how about helping her to figure out why she's accident-prone? You know, be supportive. Oh wait, she's asked you for that and you told her to accept she's just not that bright. The car accidents sound like the result of poor driving and not staying focused when she drives, not a lack of intelligence. Breaking glassware sounds like clumsiness, not a lack of intelligence. Putting gas in a diesel car sounds like a lack of knowledge about cars, not a lack of intelligence. You tried to undermine her when she said she got good grades, and you discounted it because she doesn't work in that job anymore. So what? I don't see her beating herself up about it. I see you being critical and writing her off as dumb, when from what you describe here, she isn't. Update, I think I owe her a big apology. She's not dumb and I really meant absent-minded or clumsy, and I don't think she's a bad driver in terms of capability. She can park in tighter places than me and I know she was sleep-deprived for the pedal mix-up accident. She was a lot sharper before when we were friends and when we just started dating. I'm going to reflect a bit because this started around the time we moved in together. Maybe I snore and make her sleep worse or something, or maybe I need to be more considerate like her. I've been with my husband since we were teens, and he's always been open about the fact that his lifestyle would have been entirely different had we not met at such a young age and if our circumstances had been different. His friend Jake likes to joke about how I was lucky I met my husband when I did. I usually don't take it personally, but he brought it up while my husband wasn't within earshot and told me how he didn't think we would have ended up married if we met as adults. When I asked him why, he told me that if I was being honest with myself, I could see my husband was the type to date a bunch of models before bagging himself a trophy wife at 45. He knew I was offended because he tried to turn the conversation around by saying I was too smart to be a trophy wife and that my husband wouldn't have been my type if I'd met him as an adult either. I told my husband that Jake thinks I'm too ugly for him after making him promise not to say anything to him. I did go into more detail about the conversation and my husband didn't seem that upset before we went to bed. He even jokingly asked me if I was trying to fish for compliments. He never said anything to Jake until they had a boys' night when he blew up at him. I don't know what happened exactly, but apparently it was bad and my husband was really angry with Jake for calling me ugly, which Jake denies. So Jake's accusing me of trying to cause issues between them by lying since he didn't say I was ugly even once. I know he's been calling me both insecure and vain behind my back to their friends. I did try to explain what exactly happened to my husband, but it only makes him angrier at Jake every time I bring it up. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and I mean, did he not call you ugly? Like, what is my husband was the type to date a bunch of models before bagging himself a trophy wife at 45 supposed to mean if not saying you aren't pretty enough for him? The guy sounds like a major jerk. You handled this really well. What did he hope to prove or get out of this conversation? It seems like Jake doesn't want you to be together and he's trying to sow the seeds of doubt. In a backhanded way, he did call you ugly or at least not beautiful by some standards. I could poke holes in what you did here, but to my mind, Jake is by far the biggest idiot in this whole thing. Also, it's very rich that Jake is accusing you of causing issues between them when he's the one who tried to make you feel less than deserving of your happy marriage. This dude needs to be cut out of your friend group. He's clearly not a kind and supportive friend. Ironically, the full telling of what Jake said to OP shows that Jake has a very low opinion of OP's husband, who is ostensibly his friend. It reveals he thinks OP's husband is shallow and would treat women as objects and trophies if he wasn't already married. If I were the husband, I'd be angry at Jake for insulting my wife and me.